I'm gonna go with good old-fashioned medieval serfdom.
Oh.
Yeah, and I'm gonna
Nice.
say that his colleague actually, like former colleague, I'm gonna say, they had a falling out because this former colleague is a bit of a more business-minded person, and he wanted to take the non-infectious zombie recipe and figure out a way to raise zombie serfs so that he could have an undead a workforce to expand his business empire.
Wow.
And then our victim actually refused to sell him the recipe on principle, saying that the dead deserve their rest and we can't raise all the dead in the world or something like that. So they had a falling out over the use of this technology, this arcane technology.
I unfortunately forgot to put the name of your daughter in one of the windows.
She doesn't get her own window.
No.
Yeah, that's an injustice of
She'll be moving around a
unheard.
lot. Trouble
She'll
cropping.
also be trading spots probably
Yeah,
sometimes.
you won't be able to crop her in exactly into place there.
Yeah.
Oh.
So strong.
So strong.
Oh. Do you love or do you hate the intro music for the tabletop simulator?
It gets stuck in my head if you couldn't tell. But
I just think it's so weird because the first time I opened it, it's like Berserk Studios, blood splatter.
Yeah.
After that, it's like.
The contrast is a little funny.
That is in 5 seconds a very huge window of opportunity what board games can do with you. You know, Berserk, bam, but also
It's an emotional roller coaster for sure.
So, I think we can start now.
Yes. All right. We're live. Woo!
Yeah, we're live. Woohoo! Welcome to a Trope Quest. I love to do these little welcomes for the YouTube video later. Yeah, we are going on a Trope Quest today, and as you already as you are already aware of, I guess, I had our community to poll the possibilities that we had.
Oh,
and we had the possibility, we had to choose between sci-fi and medieval fantasy, and we had to choose between love story and murder mystery. And the first question was very, very, it was a very hard question because it just by a margin fantasy made it. So we will have a medieval fantasy, we will use the medieval fantasy deck, and we will play in the trope of the murder mystery, and that wasn't close by any margin. It was a landslide.
Yeah, I mean, romance is fun to play sometimes just because if you want to make fun of romance stories.
Can I throw this deck off the...
Can you? Can you just
throw it? Come back.
Will it just... Oh, they come back when you throw them. If only that happened in real life. All right, so let's throw this up. Throw the fantasy story.
It's gonna come back.
Yeah.
You can't get rid of the love story. It will come back.
You
It keeps coming back.
Why is that? I mean, I thought that this would happen, that people would prefer murder over love, but why is that?
It's a good question.
Yeah, I don't know really. You know, what is it about human nature? We could ponder that for a while.
Yeah.
A lot of people say they hate love.
Yeah.
But I don't think they do.
No.
They hate it when they don't have love.
They're afraid. they're afraid to truly let their guard down and be loved. I think that's what it is. You know?
I'm gonna delete this other deck here. All right.
I would actually,
All right.
I think that answer is very close to hitting the point, right?
Yeah, yeah. Because everybody knows love stories, but like maybe they even like them, but maybe they're afraid to admit that they kind of enjoy it. It's like a guilty pleasure that you wouldn't post on Instagram or something. You want someone's Instagram comments and be like,
I want to see a romance.
Hooray for love
I want
story.
a fantasy romance.
Yeah. If you do an anonymous poll, maybe next time it'll be romance. Like,
Oh yeah, that's it. It has to be anonymous. Maybe then love will reign supreme.
Yes, at long last. All right.
Yeah, so Tavey and Hanna, you are, is it right that you are the main developer, Tavey, or are you like developing the game both together? Is it a shared effort?
It's all him.
It's mostly me,
Okay.
but she offers a lot of much needed perspective because like you get kind of lost in your head when you're making games, or you stick to very traditional formats. And Hanna's not really a gamer in the traditional sense.
I don't like board games, actually.
Yeah. So she's kind of this outside eye that's just like, why is it always like this? Or like, why does it have to be like this? And so, she helps me think of new ideas and approach it from a different perspective.
And playtest. I actually like his games, even though I don't like most games.
Yeah. I think if I can make her like a game, then chances are most gamers will actually like it.
Nice. Yeah, I see. That's good. Yeah, so I think the way we do it is we first get into the action, and then when we told our tale and determined who is the best storyteller through the very funny victory condition that you have, then we will talk about the development and how you came up with it later. But first, we will have a play, because then we know what we are dealing with. So.
All right, yeah.
So we are Violet, Genius Lord Tavington, and Rattenkopf 2. So, yeah. You already told me how the game works. I will repeat it to you, and then you can correct me or say if I understood something correctly or if I understood something terribly wrong.
Okay, all right, let's get it.
Yeah. So, TropeQuest. In TropeQuest, we will draw cards from this medieval deck, and then we will take them to our hands, and then we will have to tell this murder mystery. We will have to follow the story track as we see it unfolding here. And every round, one person is, I guess, the storyteller, and the other two will have to play cards and suggest the person who is telling the story how the story will go on. For example, here we have the first trope station. I don't know how you call it.
It's the first. We call it a scene, so they're all scenes.
The scene, yeah. The first scene is a body is found. Cause of death seems to be, and then I could say, well, it seems to be a ship, like for the ocean, but it flies. Nice. It's already starting. Yeah. But the other player may suggest a dwarf with a Scottish accent.
Yeah.
Shout out to the crew of the Old King's Crown, who we had on last week. But yeah.
And it's a trope, right? It's like dwarves in fantasy always have Scottish accents for some reason.
Yeah.
Like every fantasy series, every fantasy TV show, every fantasy video game, the dwarves have Scottish accents. That's just how it works.
Yeah, dwarves are from Scotland, as we all know.
Yeah. But as we all know.
Yeah. And I'm saying, hey, to Maja, my uncle, who is in the chat right now. Hey. And hey, Astor Sponge, thank you for the follow. So, So then these two cards will, for the storyteller, be to choose. So the storyteller gets these cards like in secret, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
and then the storyteller has to choose one of them, play it here, and then the storyteller has to, of course, tell the story, what happened with the ship, but it flies, and the cause, why it is the cause of death in this story. And then when the story is told, it goes on, right? Next round.
Yep. Next character, next player, next scene. Yeah. And then we keep doing that, changing players for every scene until the whole story is told. And one little detail is that we add a random card from the deck.
Since there's only 3 of us.
Yeah, to the cards that the narrator can choose from. So the narrator has 3 cards to choose from, 2 from the players and 1 just randomly from the deck. And if a player's card gets chosen, then that player gets to draw 2 cards, and then everybody else that played a card gets to draw 1 card back. So you can, if you keep getting chosen, then you keep getting more cards in your hand as the game continues.
Oh, and should we use that random rule that Tim made up?
Oh yeah. Well, that's not complicated. We're still playtesting them.
Yeah. So this is the way you can get more cards if your cards are chosen. Then if you have more cards, you can choose better. You have more options to choose from, and then in the end, the person with the most cards wins, right? Or no, it doesn't. He doesn't. He doesn't, and that's the thing.
They get to be the winner for a short period of time.
Yeah. Yeah, but then.
And then after that, they choose they choose their favorite scene from the story that was narrated by a different player, and then that player is the winner of the game. That winner is the chosen one, and they are the true winner of that game.
Nice. The literal chosen one, right? Yeah, that's good.
That's right. Actually chosen. Yeah.
Great. I don't know. You compared it, like it is a little bit comparable to Cards Against Humanity. You told me, right? You would agree.
Yeah. That's
mixed
kind
with
of
Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, you're telling a story, but you're also kind of playing this party game and telling a really silly story and trying to make jokes at the same time.
Yeah.
But there's just enough guidance on the board to get it to be an actual story.
Yeah. And but I can't recall the victory condition in Cards Against Humanity, but I remember people being frustrated about it.
I think in Cards Against Humanity, it's every time you win a round, then you get to keep the question card, and at the end, whoever collected the most of those is the winner.
Like the game ends and you have a certain number or something.
I remember the game
just. People just play until they get bored.
Yeah, I think people usually just play until like they're tired of it.
Yeah.
And then they're like, let's do something else.
Yeah. Yeah,
but this game has a point, which is good. You know?
Nice. Yeah, I see. Yeah, so let's start it. Let's get into it. I'm super excited. Right.
Yeah, so to start off, each player gets 3 cards in their hand. So I'm just going to throw you 3 cards here. Mm-hmm. All right, there you go. And you can keep those secret to yourself. And I'm going to take my cards over here. All right. And usually what happens is the person who owns the game makes up an arbitrary rule for who goes first. And then that rule that they made up decides who goes first. And since Hanna made this whole actual tabletop simulation of the game, I think she's technically the owner of this version of the game. So I'm gonna, so she's going to make up the rule to decide. I know, right? I'm the man with the scissors.
Okay, the person who went outside last.
The person who last went outside their house.
Yes.
I went outside the house.
You went out after I did.
Yeah, that's right. But that was about 3 hours ago that I came back. So I was outside 3 hours ago.
Yeah, I was out for lunch, so that was longer because I'm at 8 p.m. here.
You're the last one outside, Tavey.
All right, that's me. Yep. And I am the first narrator, it looks like. So I get to do scene 1. and then Sven, you're next after that, and then Hanna's last.
Yes.
All right. Hold on. I need to
First, he needs
plug
to
my
run and
computer
get
in.
his computer charger. That would be awkward. All right, well, we can choose our cards for the scene.
Oh, yeah. The scene is a body is found, cause of death seems to be blank. You guys each
So
submit
we
a
each
card.
submit a card to him face
Face
down.
down.
Okay, what could the cause of death be?
Yeah.
That's of
And then
course
there's also one face down card on the table. So you
that
just put
is
them on top of
steering the story in a very different direction than when I choose this one. But I can't choose
Yeah.
this one.
First two
This is
cards
too
can be very
disrespectful.
For the scene.
No. I have to but this is fun. But I think I'm gonna go with this one.
Yeah, you
He
started playing
hasn't
yet.
played a card yet. He was like, I'm having a good time. That's always a good sign.
Yeah, it's already really cool, the possibilities.
Yeah. All right,
Okay,
and then I
shuffle
give it a
them.
little shuffle there. Okay, here we go.
Let's see what we got.
I'll turn them over. And so the cause of death seems to be, first one, your generic over-the-counter type miracle. Second one, a cursed golden ring. And the third one, a manic pixie.
Oh,
I mean, I haven't gotten to play this card before, so I'm just going to go with a manic pixie. All right. Who played that one?
wasn't me.
What?
I didn't
Is that
do
the
it.
random one?
That's a random card.
Random card. Okay, sorry guys, I chose the random card. So nobody gets extra cards this time. That's a
Damn.
problem with me. Is like I
He
often
always chooses the random card.
I tend to really like random things and like how to fit them into the story. So the body is found.
Yeah.
The cause of death seems to be a manic pixie. So it's like a lot of tiny little stab wounds all over this person's body, and they bled to death.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So they were slain by many tiny little, like thousands of tiny little stab wounds.
Wow.
And it looks as if a crazy little fairy or a manic pixie killed this person.
Wow.
All
All right. Well, we each still get to draw one card.
Yeah, you get one card to make up for the one you just used. So you get back up to 3.
Okay, well, we don't get an extra card.
Yep.
All right. So then I think, Sven, it's your turn.
Oh no, it's my turn. Damn.
Yeah.
I would have. Yeah, but it's okay. It's okay. Then give me your cards. I'm interested in if they can be better than mine.
All right. The victim was well known because of.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So here's a face. Oh, no, that's the whole deck. Sorry. No, I'm still getting the hang of this
Gotta go
tabletop.
fast, yeah.
There we go. So there's the first one, and then I need to look at my cards here.
Okay.
So just to be clear, a pixie is a fairy-like small creature, right?
Yeah.
That's yes.
Yeah, kind of like a little fairy.
Yeah. And a
So,
thousand.
crazy fairy stabbed this person to death, it seems.
Yeah. A crazy small creature with 1,000 stabbing wounds.
Hold on.
Tavey
Trying
is getting at it.
He's new
There we
to
go.
Tabletop Simulator.
Yeah, she's trying to figure out how to use this thing. There we go.
So, what do we have? We have piles and piles of gold. The victim was well known because of piles. So was it a rich guy
Rich guy.
Could be, yeah.
or a
You interpret-
rich girl maybe. The inherent
Oh, yeah, we don't
goodness
have
in
to-
certain non-ugly people. Whoa, smells like an evil pixie.
Yeah.
Non-infectious zombies? How do I make this work? Okay.
Yeah, sometimes I just like a card and I want it to work, so I choose
Yeah.
it before I even know how
I
I'm
know.
going to use it.
So yeah, the victim was of course well known because he was the first one in the entire realm to create a method of raising the dead without them being infectious. It was actually a famous necromancer.
Oh.
He was a
Wow.
famous necromancer, a little callback to a Crown of Ash. The developer Richard Lawton was on 2 weeks ago. And it was a necromancer who developed a technique to raise the dead without them being infectious, which is a scientific breakthrough in this realm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
So
a good
who was
one. I
that?
like that. That was me.
Wow! Not bad, Tavey, not bad.
All right, so I get an additional card. So
You
I'm
get
up to
extra cards. I
yeah.
just get one.
I'm up to 4 cards now. Yeah.
Oh my god, this is really fun, guys.
It's always a good sign if somebody's like, we're only 2 plays in. And
He already
we're
likes
having
it.
a great
All
time.
right, so now we're on to my turn. The police are busy with a crime wave related to what?
Oh,
You
okay.
tell me. There's the random card.
Oh, wait, hold on.
Stop
I'm gonna
with
put
the
that back.
Scottish accent. No. It's this one. Yeah. Astral Sponge
actually,
says,
I think,
such
my
a cool
favorite
game.
board.
I tend to agree. So,
This is my favorite board because at the end you have to solve the crime, and that's really hard. Okay, let's see what we got here. All right. There's a crime wave related to an old gay wizard,
oh no, an old gay wizard.
a message delivered by a bird,
Ooh.
and possibly the best swordsman in the story. I think I'm gonna go with that. There is a rogue swordsman who's been just like slicing people everywhere across town, and he's so fast, and he's the best swordsman in the world. They haven't been able to stop him, and the police are really busy chasing down this wild swordsman,
Yeah, just carefully.
who may
follow him.
also be a pixie, but
Yeah, could be some overlap there. We don't know.
or
Very
could be a different
nice.
person. We'll see.
All right. Well, that wasn't my card.
That was my card. Thank you very much.
Hey,
you go. You get
nice.
three
So you're up to 4 cards as well. Okay. All right. Well, it's back to my turn then. And scene
The old
4.
gay wizard's turning all the frogs gay, Astral Sponge suggests. Does this fantasy realm have conspiracy theorists as well? I guess so, right?
I think you can. Yeah. Yeah. Well, we're making it up as we go along.
Yeah.
Be
So.
creative. So
Yeah.
if you want there to be conspiracy theories, there are.
Yep. All right. Scene 4. The victim's spouse hires a PI who's famous for something.
Okay.
So he hires an investigator,
Strange
or he.
star.
Victim spouse. We don't know much about the victim. Oh, wait, the victim was,
The victim was a necromancer.
the necromancer. So I guess
That's all we know.
male necromancer?
I don't know.
Doesn't even have a name yet.
Doesn't have a name yet. But
Okay.
the victim's spouse hires a private investigator, famous for
So we got Mrs. Necromancer.
Mrs. Necromancer.
Yeah, that's good.
Our victim
PI
is
is famous for what?
our victim is John
Whoops,
Q.
I
I didn't see that. I didn't see it.
You didn't see it? Okay, there. I forgot I had to flip it over.
There we go.
This one
All
would
right.
have been even better, but it's okay. Okay.
There we go. All right. So, victim's spouse hires a PI who's famous for previously unknown royal lineage,
Interesting.
temporary invisibility, and a ship like for the ocean, but it flies. Which one do we do? I like this one because it adds like a something to the story, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the victim's spouse hires a PI, and she calls the investigator in, and he introduces himself, and then she slowly, over the course of the interview, reveals that she has access to tons of money to pay him because she is actually a descendant of the king. And so unbeknownst to him originally, she reveals like, oh, I actually have royal blood, and I can pay you handsomely if you find my husband's killer.
That was not my card.
Ah, so the victim's spouse is famous for a previously unknown royal lineage, not the PI.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, not
Oh, sorry. I
wrote this game.
I wrote this game. I'm messed up right now. Okay. The PI has previously unknown royal lineage. There we go. All right. In that case, should I go with that card?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, guys. It's too late. I chose it. All right. Yeah. The PI has previously unknown royal lineage, and I'd say the victim's spouse hires him and says that if she solves the case, then if the PI solves the case, she won't tell everybody that this PI is actually descended from the previous dynasty.
Oh.
Yeah.
So she's blackmailing.
She's gonna blackmail him.
Well, I mean, she's the wife of a necromancer, so.
Yeah. There we go.
That figures.
All right. Well, it wasn't mine, so I just drew one card.
It wasn't mine either. Always Tavey, right?
Yeah. I keep doing this. I should have gone with something easier.
All right.
All right, Sven.
Yeah.
Yeah, private investigator takes the case after hearing a detail about how he'll die if he doesn't kill. No.
Okay, after hearing the detail about being blackmailed.
I got my card. I don't know why I put it there, sorry. Here's the random one.
Okay, and then I go with that. Oops, didn't quite put that on it. There we go. All right.
Okay. Let's see what we got.
Sorry, we have a screaming child.
Yeah.
PI takes case after hearing a detail about a language no one knows how to read. A mislabeled potion. Powerful dark magic that demands a terrible sacrifice.
It's never a bad time to play that card.
I mean, this one is so on the nose that I can't take it. I have to. It's too easy. My story has to have more twists, you know? Like, it has to be Nolan-esque or something.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
We have to bring time travel in it some way.
Yeah.
No, I am going for a language no one knows how to read.
Yes, that was my card.
No way, Tavey! Wow, not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad. Yeah, so the PI wasn't very... it didn't let himself be intimidated by these blackmailing. He says, yeah, if you want to tell them, I don't care. He's in a deep depressive state, so he doesn't really care if he lives or dies or what is happening to him. But
like noir hero, yeah.
Yeah. But the moment he is hearing about this necromancer and that the necromancer was the victim, and as he sees, because he's visiting his spouse, you know, in their necromancer in their necromancy tower in the upstairs at the tower, he sees that the necromancer has foliants with this language that no one knows how to read, but he somehow recognizes it, but he can't read it, and he knows nobody can read it. But it seems that necromancer may have found out a way to, so that is piquing his interest for reasons we don't know yet, but maybe we will find out over the course of the story why he's so intrigued by this language.
All right, so we've got a mysterious language now. That's
right.
Excellent.
Put those ones away. All right.
Yeah,
All right.
the plot thickens.
All right.
All right. So at the scene, our private investigator notices a clue related to what?
Yeah.
Oh, nice verb.
Yeah.
There's a random card.
No.
I just really like this guy.
No. That's good.
So I'm really bad at putting these cards on top. I'm really bad at putting
You
the
can
cards on top.
rotate them if you
Oh, okay. There you go.
All right. All right. A clue related to a strange new star in the sky, a high-budget, visually impressive spell, or an actual decent human being who dies later. Oh, that's one of my favorite parts. Clue. I'm gonna say a strange new star in the sky.
Okay.
So as our PI is looking through all these strange notes that are in this strange language, he noticed that some of the words are on what seems to actually be a star chart, and it's circling a star that hasn't been seen in 2,000 years.
Ooh.
And he starts to suspect maybe this has something to do with his creation of these non-infectious zombies. And that night when he's looking out, he notices that star is in the sky again.
Ooh.
And it appeared the night that the body was found.
Okay.
Whoa.
So good luck tying that in.
I feel like the story map really like shotguns a lot of red herrings at you at the beginning. All right.
Oh yeah.
All right. So my scene 7. So a colleague is a suspect because
It was my card, by the way. Sorry.
Oh, nice.
Oh, yeah.
You get 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So colleague is a suspect because of
Colleague, the colleague of the PI or of the necromancer, of the victim?
of the necromancer.
Of the necromancer.
Necromancer is a suspect.
All right.
I think I'm gonna go with this one. Yep.
All right. Thank you. All right. Let's flip these over. Okay. One of the victim's colleagues, so John Q. Necromancer, his colleague is a suspect because of a high-stakes guessing game, some good old-fashioned medieval serfdom, and an unhealthy obsession with something precious. I'm going to go with good old-fashioned medieval serfdom.
Oh.
Yeah. And I'm
Nice.
going to say that his colleague actually, former colleague, I'm going to say, they had a falling out because this former colleague is a bit of a more business-minded person, and he wanted to take the non-infectious zombie recipe and figure out a way to raise zombie serfs so that he could have an undead a workforce to expand his business empire.
Wow.
And then our victim actually refused to sell him the recipe on principle, saying that the dead deserve their rest and we can't raise all the dead in the world or something like that. So they had a falling out over the use of this technology, this arcane technology.
That's really good. And it was also my card, so I love it a lot.
Nice.
Okay, so now sibling is a suspect. The sibling of the necromancer is a suspect because of.
Okay, why is the sibling a suspect? Oh.
I'm really bad at putting these cards on top of each other. You see that? It's just like always landing.
All right, let's see. Schnupp. Love. True love. Always. Yeah, there it is. We can't escape it, as we said in the beginning.
Yeah.
Even in the murder mystery.
That's
Even
right.
in the murder mystery. Magical vortex that could, gosh, cause darn near anything. The Great Unburned Library of Ancient Books. Yeah, I've picked the strange one last time. Now I have to pick the fitting one. I'm gonna go with the library.
Ooh,
And whose card was it?
that was mine.
Whoa, Tavey! I'm consistently
Yeah,
picking
wow.
yours. Not bad. So, of course, the sibling of the Necromancer is a bit of a traditionalist. She, like it's her sister, she and they are siblings. Like siblings, it means like, but they are born at the same time. How does that? What does that mean? Like twins.
Oh, they're twins.
Yeah, they are twins. And they were born at the same time. They went to necromancy school at the same time. They got their necromancy degree at the same time. Everything was the same. But the necromancer, John, his name, I guess. John, John the necromancer, he didn't stick to code after getting his degree. He said, I hate all these traditional rules. It's holding me back. I want to get more. So he went off trail and made experiments that were not cool by the Citadel, by the Necromancy Citadel.
Oh.
So, and her sister, Joanne.
Joanne.
John and Joanne.
Yeah, her sister Joanne actually stayed at the Citadel and is now head of the Citadel. And so she became head of the Citadel, but she is a little bit jealous of her brother because he got to do the cool stuff and got in the results, the non-infectious zombies, for example.
Yeah.
But at the same time, she has to hold up the rules of the Citadel, and this is why they are arguing all the time, and it is really, really like they're raising armies of the dead against each other, and it is a whole mess. So, yeah.
Okay.
That's some serious sibling fight.
Yeah, sibling rivalry.
And she of course is, and this is the Great Unburned Library of Ancient Books. She of course is as head of the Citadel, also head of the Great Unburned Library.
Yeah.
And you can see that there are books from the library missing, and the PI finds them at the scene of the crime. So the necromancer has stolen them from the Unburned Library.
Or somebody left them there.
Ooh, that's right. You just found it.
This is good. The plot keeps thickening. All right.
All right.
Are you gonna play?
Yeah, I can still go.
All right.
Just discreetly feed this child while playing. All right. Oh, sorry, I moved the whole Okay. So I tried just drawing a card. Hey, wow, we all stayed. That's good.
Yeah.
Okay. That was not my card, so I just got one. That was your card.
Oh yeah.
All right. So the next one, a third suspect knows the victim through what?
Okay. The third suspect knows the victim.
An ill-advised.
What are my cards doing? Ooh. There we go. And then here's a random.
That's good.
I'm so bad at this.
And it's in the side spot, so your cards come in sideways.
Yeah, go on top.
There you go.
Okay.
All right. So the third victim knows third suspect knows our victim through. What those? Okay, the last of a noble and ancient lineage.
Okay.
Oh my goodness. A pact sealed in blood, or assistance from a lowercase g god. I'm gonna go with a pact sealed in blood. So it turns out to make these non-infectious zombies, the only way to make the non-infectious zombies was to get blood from somebody who had a very specific blood type. And he got this person to sign up, telling them it was a medical study. And he got this person, we'll call this person Sarah. So Sarah signed up for this medical study, and it turned out that actually she found out later that this was to make non-infectious zombies. And she was a little bitter that she thought she was helping kids with cancer when she donated her blood to this cause. But she didn't read the fine print of the contract, and she also had to sign the contract with blood because it's a whole necromancy thing.
Yeah.
So people suspect she's a little bitter and may have wanted to kill him when she found that out.
All right, that was my card.
Okay.
Nice one.
Oh,
And nice story point.
yeah.
I mean, there is a reason. There is a reason why John got thrown out of the Citadel, right?
Yeah, he's
There's a few reasons.
breaking the rules.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Rebel necromancer.
Was the contract? Astral Sponge asks, was the contract written in the language that no one knows how to read but the necromancer?
Probably also that.
Yeah, could be.
Yeah.
All right. We're on scene 10. PI gets an anonymous tip about something.
Whew. I can draw one card, right? Yeah.
Oh, this is good. I'm so bad at TTS, guys. This is really embarrassing. There we go. All right.
I have to pick this one, even if it's, but it's really absurd. But I want to have it.
Hey,
You just gotta play them.
yeah. Sometimes the joke is that you even played a card. Yeah. All right, here we go. Did I shuffle these? All right, let me give them a quick shuffle. There we go. All right. So PI gets an anonymous tip about the love of adventure. Okay. A throng of unwashed peasants. Okay. Hold on a sec. And some people being better than other people's. All right. All right. Cause of death seems to be. What would the anonymous tip be about? Whoa, this one's a tough one. And yep. Oh, there's an aspect we did not go over earlier, which is the replay cards. So if you look at your replay card, if you look at the 3 cards that you've got, and you're kind of thinking like, okay, this isn't really like tickling my brain the right way, or you've just like had the idea earlier that you kind of want to bring back a previous element, you can just grab a replay card, put it down there, and then use that to copy any other previously played card.
Ah, cool.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to say that our PI gets an anonymous tip about, I'm just going to point it towards somebody here. I'm going to say, yeah, I'll just drop it here. Gets an anonymous tip about some good old-fashioned medieval serfdom. And he says, it's a tip about a colleague, and saying that the colleague has recently somehow discovered how to make non-infectious zombies and is raising zombies on his manor to do field work.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Suspicious.
Suspicious. How convenient that just suddenly started happening.
Ooh.
Hey.
Yep.
All right, so none of us get a second card.
Yeah. So each player can do a replay once per game.
Yeah.
Or
So
could one person do 3 replays?
now it's my turn, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the suspects dies.
Ooh.
Cause of death?
Oh, okay. All right. Let's see.
I'm interested.
All right. And there's a random card.
Oh, so bad at using this thing. Sorry. I'm trying. All right, there we go.
Might be easier if you were sitting at the spot next to me, maybe.
Come on. Yeah, okay, here we go.
Yeah, 3. We already have 3, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so one of the suspects dies. Cause of death is an ambitious backstabbing aristocrat. Ooh. That's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
The announcement of a royal decree.
Oh, so there's a
Interesting. A decently organized army of monsters. Wow.
And remember, you can use a replay.
Yeah. But I think I don't have to.
All right.
I know in which way this can go. But I have to pick the obvious one. Could the PI's royal lineage tie in with a royal decree, Astral Sponge says. That is an interesting thing. Oh, now I have to rethink this. Oh my god. The announcement of a royal decree. But one of the suspects dies, and the cause of death is the announcement of the royal decree.
Yeah, maybe like the king says something like says that he needs to be executed, or
he's making slave zombies.
Yeah, or puts a bounty on someone's head or something. I don't know. Yeah.
I have to use the army of monsters.
All
I
right.
have to use the army of monsters. Because whose was it?
That was mine.
Yeah. All right. So the army of monsters. Who dies? That's the interesting one. At a later day, like after the PI investigates all the fuss about the secret zombie serfdom that this one rich guy, the colleague of the Necromancer, built up. Interestingly, the sister of the Necromancer, Joanne, is found dead, ripped to shreds. What is actually appears to be a horde of zombies.
Ooh.
And because the strange thing is that her body is still there, and she didn't turn into a zombie. She's still dead. So that's something to think about.
All right.
I just remembered that he was stabbed to death by a pixie.
It's like,
oh my god, the manic pixie! How do we get her into?
like, are we gonna have to bring? Maybe we just kind of ignore it. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. So another suspect is arrested on evidence of what?
Okay.
You tell me.
All right.
My random card.
Maybe the pixie was hired by someone. Astral Sponge really wants to get into it. We should invite Astral Sponge for the next round.
Yeah.
Maybe the pixie was hired by someone else.
Different.
Come on. It's so hard to put this card on top of that.
Someday. You can also rotate them. See, just like that. Yeah.
I try this one, even if it's a little bit strange.
I'm just gonna stop.
There we go.
So,
Okay.
All right. So another suspect is arrested on evidence of full frontal nudity, an unenthused appearance by the local guard, or a very special hat.
ooh.
Oh. Oh my goodness. Okay. Evidence. So there's only 2 surviving suspects. There's this guy with his whole army. There's this suspect who donated her blood.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna go with a very special hat.
Yes, that's mine.
Nice.
And this is maybe a stretch. Okay. So as our PI is going, he goes to the new farm that is opened up, being run by zombie slaves, and he is invited into the office of this colleague, and the colleague is acting casual and cool, and he's like, "Oh, what are you doing here today?" And he's like, "Oh, we're actually investigating a murder of John the Necromancer." And he's like, "Oh, he was murdered? I wasn't aware." And then suddenly our PI notices in the corner there is a hat with what looks like maybe dried blood on it, shoved into the corner of a bookcase. And on the hat are some symbols in that ancient language that nobody knows how to read.
Oh.
And that's all.
Okay. So
This guy's looking bad. So he's like, hey.
He gets arrested.
He gets arrested, and he's like, that hat is suspicious. That looks like that
Whoa.
has been involved.
All right. So
And they
evidence
looked through the guy's Facebook, the guy who got murdered, and they saw a picture of him in that hat.
his fantasy
book. His fantasy book.
All right. So now it looks like the business guy, the colleague, is in custody.
He's in custody.
All right.
Oh.
But now it's my scene.
Oh dear, this is the hard scene.
Yep. Oh, I got the toughest one. It says PI names the real killer after a realization about blank. So he's gonna name the killer.
Ye old fantasy book. Yeah.
Ye old fantasy book.
Ye old face.
After realization about. That's interesting. But it's also dumb.
They're all interesting and dumb. I think.
True.
Half the fun.
Yeah, half the fun is that it's kind of everything's a little bit of a stretch.
Let's do this one.
There's no wrong answers in
Yeah.
TropeQuest.
Yeah.
Thanks. All right. So the PI names the real killer after a stunning realization about disenchantment,
Okay.
an ill-advised act of mercy, and a sensibly packed bag full of useful, normal items. Okay.
Come on.
Oh no.
You're like, I think you should be able to use another replay.
Yeah, I really should be allowed to use another replay,
I
huh?
think it's just like 3 replays can be used total the whole game.
3 total? Yeah. Maybe. I guess I never had a rule about limiting the
Yeah, that's
number of
right. I
replays
didn't
per
know there was
person
like a-
before.
Because we can play 2-person.
Yeah, I just think like if you're really trying to capture like how many cards people have, if one person keeps
Oh.
choosing replays, then nobody else gets to draw extra
That's
cards on their
true.
turn. So it's
But
kind
it's
of a
not about winning.
It isn't about winning. It's true.
It's about the best story.
You could solve that problem easily by saying if you choose a replay, everybody draws 2 cards but you.
Oh, hey, there's an idea. Yeah.
So both people get 2 cards.
Yeah. Oh, you give them extra
So
cards.
everyone gets extra cards if you use a replay.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's
Ooh.
encouraging people to.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, I like that idea. Thanks.
No problem.
Yeah,
It's a developer talk after all. I mean, that's why we're here.
It encourages people to use the replays, which are important for tying the story together and making it actually make sense.
Yeah.
Because I always feel a little guilty using a replay, but that makes you not feel guilty.
Yeah, then you're giving other people cards.
Then you're
Great.
generous. That's cool. Yeah, that's good.
I like it.
All right. So I'm going to use an ill-advised act of mercy in this one.
Nice. Very well done.
That is.
Is that yours?
Yep.
All right. So the detective says they kind of chase down the businessman. He's like, you're wrong about me. Get away from me. And then the police come in, and then he's cornered, and then the businessman, all the zombies come in, and they all grab the police officers, and then and the PI, and then the zombies look to their master, and then he looks at the police officers and the PIs, and he says, I could kill you all right now, but I just can't bring myself to do it. Let them go. And then he holds out his hands, and then the police arrest him and take him away. And then the PI is sitting there later thinking to himself, like, he could have gotten away. He could have killed us.
Yeah.
But he didn't. He let us go. And anybody could have put that there. Anybody could have put that hat covered in blood there. That woman's hat covered in blood, which we found in the corner of the room, actually. And then he thinks back and he stalks the Facebook pages, and he finds it's a fantasy Facebook. And he finds that actually it's the woman whose blood they got in the first place to do it. It's her hat. And he tells the police officers, "All right, round them up, boys. We got the wrong suspect. Follow me." And he leads them off to go capture that woman.
Holy.
Wow.
Holy.
All right.
That's pretty
All
good.
Right, Sven, it's yeah.
Wow.
That's always the toughest one to do. But
Yeah. It was hers all along.
it was her all along.
All right.
But she's been played so badly, and she was so passive that we didn't think about her being a
This guy was
culprit.
making a whole army of monsters, so it seemed a little suspicious. And maybe he did kill the sibling. I don't know.
Yeah, he might have still done that. But you know what? If the secret ingredient to doing the zombies is her blood, she's got all of her blood that she needs. Maybe
She's making zombies.
Well, okay, all right. Let's not talk too much. It's Sven's turn.
Yeah, Astral Sponge says so. Yeah, Sarah figured out how to use her own blood to make the zombies, so she killed the sister.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, seems
Sarah.
seems good. So, killer arrested after struggle involving. So we wrap this shit up.
Yeah, we're there.
Give me your.
Okay.
Here, I have one card. Give me your suggestions.
I'm sorry. I don't know what's wrong with my. Okay, there it is.
All right. I think they're all there.
Is that 3? Yeah.
I think so, yep.
Okay. So, the killer arrested after struggle involving a healthy dose of poison. A commune of forest-dwelling hippie types. The removal of a paper-thin disguise. You guys, you folks, I think I'm gonna use a replay here.
All right.
So, or do I have to? I don't know if I have to use a replay. Maybe.
I mean, You can bring back the pixie or the swordsman, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Language. There's a lot of interesting details in the beginning
all
of
those
the
red
story.
herrings could come
Yeah.
back and like insignificant at the end.
I want to do this. Okay, I want to replay. And I am taking the language no one knows how to read.
Oh, all right.
Because the PI faces Sarah, who, as we would have thought, has already acquired a pretty amountable horde of zombies herself that will fight for her, and it seems like there is no possibility for our PI and the police officers to overpower her. And she says, "Yeah, it is my blood. It is my destiny. You can do nothing about it."
Oh.
But now the PI, who was suspicious as he saw the language no one knows how to read, this language is actually the language of a previously unknown royal lineage.
Double replay.
So he, who is the last heir of this unknown royal lineage, is the last one to know how to read this language. And this is why he could read the disenchantment spell. I am saying this word because I'm reading it here, but it works.
Well, that's like a triple replay. He used one of the cards we didn't use.
Yeah, I'm using the discard pile now.
It's like making up new rules left and right. Wow. Yeah.
So he could figure out in the foliants written in this unknown language, he could figure out, which he kept quiet about, the disenchantment spell for everything which used the power of this language. So he can just say the words in this language, and then all the zombies sink down, and the undead life leaves them, and Sarah is alone in a field of dead bodies.
Wow.
Wow.
Excellent.
That is amazing.
Excellent.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm impressed.
Whew. That was like a good scene. And now the credits roll, and this is the after credit scene now, I think. All right, so our PI leaves already on a new case involving what?
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Did I get a card? I don't think I got a card after that.
Okay. There's the random one.
Okay.
Oh yeah, we never really said how did she kill him with a pixie?
We'll never know.
We'll never know.
We'll never know.
All right.
Sorry, I still can't put these.
All right.
Yep.
A case involving a dream with a dire warning, a dwarf with a Scottish accent, or the Guild of Thieves and other naughty people.
Just replay Manic Pixie. It's like, what was up with that?
I think I actually do want to do that.
Yep.
So now there's been a whole string of killings, all around the same area from the Manic Pixie, and they're not sure what's going on with that. There may be a Manic Pixie for hire out there.
Yeah, there's a Pixie bounty hunter or Pixie assassin.
And he recruits possibly the best swordsman in the story.
Nice.
They catch the wild swordsman, and he's allowed to not go to jail as long if he helps them capture the Manic Pixie, who is stabbing people.
That's a great.
So then there's
sequel.
like a buddy cop show coming with the PI and the swordsman.
Yeah.
And they're hunting down the Manic Pixie.
Yeah.
That's coming to theaters near you this fall.
Wow. Got an
Nice.
ensemble.
Very nice.
Awesome.
That's the story, folks.
Yeah, awesome. Well done. There's some great plays in there. I'm impressed. I'm impressed.
That's
Sven,
really
you
cool.
are a natural, I gotta say. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Get him on our stream.
Yeah,
Ours
yeah.
is at night, so we have to do a daytime one.
Yeah, we could do a daytime one and do another play. Yeah. All right. Well, the final part of the game is that we count up how many cards we have, and the person with the most cards is the winner.
Nice. Oh, thanks, Astral Sponge. Jarl did a great job, Astral Sponge says.
Aw, you did a great job, Astral Sponge.
Yeah.
All right. I have 7 cards, and I think Sven has 7 cards as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've also 7 cards.
4. So what do you do if you tie?
I don't know, actually. I didn't make up any rules for that.
We never had a tie before. You have to do something like rock, paper, scissors.
I guess if you tied, then we both have to choose our favorite scene.
Okay.
Yeah, a narrative
Or
by
do you
another
have to
player.
agree on it?
We don't have to agree. I think there could be 2 chosen ones.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's good.
All right. And my favorite scene from this was probably, I got to give it to Sven for that, the killer arrested
that
after
was
struggle
a great
involving
scene.
language no one knows how to read, ties together so many things of the story right there at the very end, at the very climax of the story. Excellent play. Well done, Sven.
Thank you
Yeah,
very
okay.
much. Thank you very much. Well. But I think I'm going with the pact sealed in blood. Because whose was that?
I think that was mine.
Yeah, that was nice.
Okay. Yeah, Hannah. Yeah, I remember. I remember. Yeah. The pact, because the pact sealed in blood gave the turning point, and I really loved how it evolved from this Sarah being the victim in all this situation and the like a side character to becoming like to empowering her own to overcome these necromancers, but then the power got to her head. Like, this is the turning point that made it all possible.
Actually,
So this is
her
pretty
own
cool.
zombie army in the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, introduced the key character there.
Yeah.
Secretly key
The
character.
actual criminal. Yeah.
I think
Awesome.
murder stories do that. Like murder mysteries seem to do that a lot, where there's a random side character who doesn't seem super relevant,
Mhm.
and then they always turn out to be the killer.
Yeah, I think we've done one where the spouse turned out to be the
Oh
killer
yeah,
too.
I think we did one where the PI turned out to be the killer.
That one was weird.
That was a stretch.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Awesome.
that's Trope Quest, actually, right?
That's Trope Quest. Right? That's Trope Quest.
Yep.
You could say that the game is very clever, but really it's the people. It's all about people. I think, because I don't know, we're kind of talking like development now, but like part of my like ethos on making this game was don't underestimate your audience. So like I allow people to show that they're smart enough to play this game, you know, because some people would look at this game and they'd be like, oh, that's too much. It's too freeform. People wouldn't get it. People wouldn't understand how to play it. But then I look at games like Dungeons and Dragons, that's literally just a book and some dice. And you got to read like several books. And then there's literally nothing in front of you except maybe some maps if you feel like it and stuff like that. I'm like, look, that has very few rules compared to like, you know, it's very freeform. So something like Trope Quest, to me, like as a narrative game, is still like there's just enough rules and just enough of a seed, not too many rules, but I think it's not impossible for like the average person to just pick it up and start doing.
Completely. And
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I mean the thing, I guess the free form is, I think you have a very nice balance. You have achieved a very nice balance between free form, but you have this trope that leads you through the course so that you actually can build on something. So you can, it is like, yeah, limitation ignites creativity, right? In this sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, I had another version of this game. I was calling it Raconteur, and I think there's somewhere on YouTube there's a how to play video of that. But But it's kind of like this, except instead of having a sentence, it just has a title. So the first one would just say hero. The second title says details. Third one just says quest, you know?
Yeah.
And so all you do is like you take these cards.
Cards are also more vague.
Yeah, the cards are also very vague. They might say something like anger, or they might say something like fire, or one of them might say house. You know, it's just like icons on them, and then you play them in there, and then you just kind of tell that part of the story. And it can be so vague and so weird and dreamlike. People kind of told me you need to have like something more substantial for a story to be based off of.
Now it can be fun if you have the right people, but it's not for everybody.
Yeah, I'd say if you've got somebody and you play Trope Quest with them a lot, then after you've played Trope Quest, you know, and you're very comfortable with it, then maybe I'll break out Raconteur and be like, hey, here's a weird game that literally anything could happen in, and then they might appreciate that. You know.
I see. It's yeah. I see. You may know the game Dixit, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So the first thing I've noticed is that you chose to use text and not images. But I mean, images you would have to draw first. But did you think about using images? It's not a suggestion that you should do it, because I think text works very well, and I'm a textual person, so I really like it. But do you think it would work with images as well?
So that other game that I'm talking about used little icons. So there'd be cards, and there was artwork was actually kind of part of the original concept. Actually, my concept for that game was it was a collectible card-based story game, so that you release different sets that have cards with artwork, and then we would maybe on like from the business side team up with different properties. So we would approach like a movie franchise and be like, hey, we're going to make a set that's based on using art from your movie franchise and then some of the themes from the movie franchise to play this kind of abstract storytelling game. Yeah. You know, reach out to things like Harry Potter or Game of Thrones or Star Wars or what have you, and just like, create the artwork for it. So people still want to collect the artwork, because you would have like these well-printed cards with beautiful artwork, full art things, with just like a vague like word on the top. So you might have like Luke Skywalker holding a lightsaber, and then it just says like fight on it or something vague like that. Yeah. But this one, it's mostly about the jokes. I think I just wanted to make like vague references to things. You know, I was thinking of different movies. Like you might catch some Harry Potter references in here. You might catch some Game of Thrones references. You might catch some Princess Bride references. They're just references. They're very vague. I don't name any names or anything like that. So we won't run into any copyright issues. But this one is just a kind of pop culture references and that kind of thing.
Yeah. Or you could even say tropes.
Yeah, exactly.
Pop culture tropes.
Yeah, exactly.
I get it.
Yeah.
So you are a musician, Tavey, right? By day, or when you don't.
In name, I guess.
Well, now he does board games 24/7.
Yeah. Okay. As you do. You know, when you start making board games, then suddenly it consumes your life.
Yeah. Tell me about it. That's right. But that's interesting, because you have a music background and then you go into a literary game. Do you have any literature? Like, are you enjoying a good tropey story? Like, do you like Marvel and Harry Potter, and do you like these things? Or is this a little bit like, is it an homage, or is it maybe even a little bit of a are you mocking the tropes, or are you picking an homage to the tropes?
No, like to the player, it won't make a difference, you know. So I don't know if I need to say it, but I think to me, it's like I don't really read a lot of like pop culture anymore because part of it is because I feel like things are recycled so much. You know, like generic fantasy movie comes out, you know, a generic superhero movie comes out, sci-fi movie happens. Like that's because like when I see trailers, I just see the tropes. I'm like, well, it's been done before, except they just took this with it from this and this from this other movie and they combined them together. It's not,
Yeah.
you know, so I think that the average person is too familiar with all the tropes. And this is my sort of way of perhaps trying to educate people on how easy it is to make your own stories, how easy it is for you personally to be creative and make something that other people will enjoy. Yeah, because we're all familiar with the moving parts of stories.
I mean, when we try to watch TV and we're looking for something to watch, he's like, I already know what this is going to do. Like, I know what they're going to say. I know what this movie is already before we even look at it. So it's kind of boring to even watch it. And then we usually just end up playing this game instead.
Nice.
Yeah. We end up telling funnier stories, things like I find I'm more surprised by what we come up with than anything I could see on TV right now.
Yeah, like we'll have a story and then there'll be a little detail from one scene that would be like the premise for an entire TV series on Netflix or something. Like the other day, we played temporary invisibility under, I think it was on this board on Crime Wave.
Yeah.
And then Hanna was like, yeah, the police are dealing with this problem for 15 minutes every day, starting at 3:00. Every person in the world becomes invisible.
Whoa.
And that's causing like a crime wave, you know, at exactly 3 p.m. every day. You know, everybody becomes invisible. So like the police are trying to deal with this. And I was like, that is like, yeah, there's so much you could do with that. It's just like, it just happened in an instant. So there's so many spontaneous moments of creativity and just like ingenious sort of twists and people taking these tropes and like inverting them, turning them inside out, reinterpreting them, applying them in ways you never would have expected. That, I don't know, like it could be kind of like, yeah, maybe I'm making fun of popular culture. Maybe it's also an homage because like I do include things that I love, but I think it's more about the player and what they get to do that rather than what I'm trying to express. I think.
Yeah. And you obviously create the freedom to approach the game in any way, you know? Yeah. It is there is nothing in here.
Is like in Dungeons and Dragons, there's one dungeon master who kind of creates the story and the other people are just players. But with Trope Quest, everybody gets to be the dungeon master. Everybody gets to create the story. It's not just one person in charge.
Yeah.
It's everybody has the capability to lead the story.
Yes.
Yes, thank you for reminding me of my my little spiel. She's like,
that's it. That is the blurb for Trope Quest. Everybody gets to be dungeon master.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
that's good.
The idea.
That's very good. So let's talk a little bit about the trope structure itself, because you told me that you actually modeled this trope board after a narration theory, after comparative literature theory. Like, can you tell us a little bit about what theory you used?
Okay, so when I was in high school, actually, I started reading Joseph Campbell's The Hero with a Thousand Faces. And in college, I majored in anthropology, so we kind of covered a lot of this stuff. But the general idea is that there's a monomyth, like one story that maybe it's like baked into human psychology, or maybe it's just because, you know, like this is how like our like world culture has developed. But there's certain structures to how you tell a story. You know, you introduce the hero in their ordinary life. You introduce something that they're unsatisfied with. And then there's a big change they have to adapt to, and then they have to leave behind their old life and then like encounter all these different situations and learn from them, and then they come back.
Yeah.
So that's like the first intro to, oh yeah, and you've got she found the old board. Yeah, this was the original board, which is kind of modeled on that. And it's like
I
very
can't see
generic.
it, unfortunately. It's blank.
Oh, it's not uploaded on there.
Oh, it's not uploaded. Sorry.
You can see it.
Yeah, I can see it on mine for some reason. Oh, then I started looking into other theories. Like there's something called the 7 basic plots. So there's like 7 types of stories basically. In Indian culture, there's like the 7 rasas, which are like like 7 different like kind of emotional frequencies that art can be on, and they also have different types of stories that they are. Yeah, I used that to sort of model how the story progresses from beginning to end, like the different types of things that happen. And originally we had like 18 squares. I got it down to 15.
Okay.
But there were 6 segments of the story, basically. So if you look through the boards, you might be able to find them. But first is like the setup, like, so waking life, I guess. So that would be the hero in their normal life. Then we have the anticipation phase. So like this one theory talks about it as comparing it to the phases of sleep. So sleep, you got anticipation, and then you have dreaming, and then you have nightmare, right?
Yeah.
No, frustration, nightmare, and then awakening. Yeah. And so at each of these different phases, the story gets more frustrating and deeper. So like first, when they're in the dream phase, that's when they're like running around in the new world, like exploring things, like being like, wow, I got this. Look at all these. They get their first few victories and stuff like that. And they're kind of learning a lot about the new world they're in. And then frustration, like something bad happens. Then like the nightmare, like something really terrible happens, and you think like, this is it. They're gonna die, you know. And then they overcome that. And then there's the awakening part where the story resolves and everything's happy again, and it returns back to normal. So I always try to have like a period somewhere in the story where it seems like the phrase is all is lost. And so if you look at the original map, it says all is lost because blank, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah. And so, yeah, that's kind of like how the story maps go. I mean, I like to pretend that like all of my studies have contributed to me being able to make the best story map possible. But in all likelihood, anybody could do it. You know?
I don't know.
That's at the same time brutally honest, but also very refreshing to hear. And I think it speaks for the game, because you don't like try to reinvent the wheel and reinvent the story structure, right? You just use what what works, or maybe like this.
Yeah. If you want to make something new, you gotta get familiar with the basic elements too. So you gotta look back sometimes to look forward.
Yeah, that's super interesting. So you had, but as I understand it, you had a different like sources of inspiration you drew from, and then you put them together yourself, you could say. And
yeah. So the fantasy deck is based on just like a lot of general fantasy things. There's some things that are like kind of like Dungeons and Dragons-y. Some things are from dark fantasy, like Game of Thrones. There's Harry Potter, Princess Bride. Actually, the original prototype for this was actually, the first one was sci-fi. And so I took Star Wars, Star Trek, Battlestar Galactica, Firefly, a lot of other sci-fi things. And then I just wrote down 12 things off the top of my head that were like images or character types or something for each one of those properties. And then I made it into a deck. And it worked really well, actually. You know,
nice.
Because you read it. Some like what I want is you read the card and you instantly remember something that's familiar. You know, you read the card and it's like, I think he's talking about this, or like this reminds me of this. So you have like an image in your head, and that image allows you to connect it to what's happening on the storyboard.
Yeah. Thor55 Gamer 13, thank you for the follow. We are getting follows left and right, guys.
Oh, cool.
Pretty good. That's pretty, because that's also an interesting question, like which are the card decks and which are the boards? Like, how do you differentiate them? Or is there also a fantasy board, for example, medieval and a murder mystery card deck. Could you combine it that way as well?
I always, the way I conceive of it is that the card deck is actually the setting of the story.
I figured.
So so the cards would be like fantasy. So it'd be like the world, like the places, the types of people, the kinds of phenomenon that happen there. And then the storyboard is something that could happen in any setting. Yeah. So like every setting, there's murder, and people that have to solve them. People fall in love, whether you're in space or whether you're in like a modern day Earth or you're in a comic book.
We currently have 5 boards.
Yeah, there's 5 boards right now. And
which are the other 3?
There is a heist.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. There is a spy thriller, so like kind of a secret agent spy thriller kind of mission. And then there's a sports underdog story. So it's like a tale of somebody who like really tries hard to excel at this sport and be pro, and then like they aren't quite making it, and they meet a mentor who's kind of weird, and then they start having some success, and then like something bad happens in their home life and they're about to give up on themselves, and the mentor gives them a speech about something that is kind of weird and hard to understand, like philosophical, and then they come through and they win the final tournament and everything's great.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah. So the reason that the plot boards work is because just now I told you the plot of like 20 movies,
Yep.
It could have been any one of 20 movies that I just told you, but that's how the plot boards work.
Yeah. I'm thinking about like expansion wise, for example.
Yeah. Well, you can't not think about expansions with this.
It is
kind of
like,
why it's,
yeah. The boards and the decks, but I'm thinking about a third kind of expansion that is maybe a little bit meta. I don't know if you thought about it.
I do like meta thing. Yeah.
I thought about like the first thing I would ask for, because I'm a little bit of a meta guy myself, I studied philosophy in university and stuff. So I can't not think about, for example, what if you had not only different topics, also different tropes and different decks of cards, but also different structures, like the narrative theory of Dan Harmon, for example. I don't know if you know Dan Harmon, the maker of Rick and Morty. And so he has like this eight wheel structure of 8 stations that you have to go through. And he says that's the perfect story. Or another narrative theorist like McKee, I guess his name, he has another story like that. There is different theories of storytelling that can clash in Trope Quest. So, but that was just an idea that I had. Yeah.
Because they all go back to the hero's journey, right?
Okay.
Like, all of these writers, like even like there's a book that's really popular among like amateur and semi-professional screenwriters trying to break into the industry. It's called Save the Cat. And in Save the Cat, he like talks about the basic structure of a story and like how he's used it to make scripts and make millions of dollars. And but he also goes back and he's like, it goes back to the hero's journey, Joseph Campbell. Like everything goes back to that. Like And so if you ask Dan Harmon, like I'm pretty sure I saw an interview where like he also would say like it goes back to Joseph Campbell and the hero's journey, which isn't really even like Joseph Campbell's a genius, because he just told us like all humans tell the same story. Like it's kind of baked into our DNA almost to tell the story in this fashion. There's a hero that goes through this journey. Yeah. And that's how we kind of envision our lives in a way, like we can look at it on a screen, but we're also, a lot of us, doing it in person, day to day. Yeah.
That is something you talked about, though, making different versions of the game that are shorter.
Yeah.
Like a quick movie trailer version. Yeah.
Another thing would be like to make, like a movie trailer. So it's like only 5 scenes. And it goes like, in a world, like on the verge of destruction by blank, and like you have to play stuff. It's like one man has the opportunity to save the world as long as he can find and then blank, So like Like it would be like action movie trailer, 5 scenes, you know.
That's really good. That's a really clever
Rom-com,
idea.
5 scenes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it'd just be a faster version of the game. And then like I guess the point of that would be like to green light the story or not, you know. So
That's a totally different game.
yeah, I thought like you'd play the game, play it through, get the 5 scenes, and then everybody at the table or at the party or whatever secretly votes if they would green light that story or not, you know. Or you have some sort of like you're trying to get funding for it, and then like you go around and you ask who's gonna invest in that movie or something like that.
That's super funny. That's super cool. You could even do the cinema night. Then you could say, okay, now we are going to the cinema. First, we watch some trailers to get into it, and then we watch the movie. So you can have a game night with first the trailer and then a full story.
And then you do a Trope Quest. Maybe that's how you choose what board to do.
Yeah.
You play the Trope Quest green light, and then.
Oh yeah. The full story. Because
cool.
we had some friends over, and they were telling us that maybe like to help people get into the game, it would be fun to have just like a 3-scene version of the game that we play through real quickly. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that's a whole other product, you know.
Yeah. So what are your plans? Like, where do we go from here? I think you are still like one special thing I want to know. Do you want this to be text only, or do you want to have pictures on it with the text?
The cards, I'm thinking that it's going to be just text.
Yeah,
because there's going to be so many cards to have a different picture. You know how expensive artists can be. You know,
yep.
It's going to get crazy. So it's going to be text based, but I think the different genres will all have their own look to them. So like the font will be different, the background and the bordering of the card and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that's just what I quickly made for Tabletop Simulator. So it's not anything what the final ones would look like.
Yeah, we couldn't take my actual cards that I made and put them into TTS, so we just had to make like a really basic just text version for it. But yeah, like for like the fantasy ones, you can kind of see it here. You know, for the fantasy ones, we've got a little bit of a fantasy font.
I don't know if you can see
the sci-fi one has a more sci-fi looking font. If we do like an Old West, you know, one, then it'll be like that sort of saloon sign font that they have in Old West movies and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, so it'll have an aesthetic, but yeah, I don't think I could go for art. One place art might show up would be the plot boards, and we didn't put those up, but I made a plot board that had like a little cartoon inside each frame, so that as you play, in addition to having a written prompt, you also see like a generic comic strip looking thing with some generic characters in it, having some sort of interaction. So that might also help people envision what they want to have happen in that scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, from here, we've been thinking about just getting some copies manufactured of the different options and then having it just sold online so people could choose what decks they want, what boards they want, and then offering a discount for if they want to get more decks or more boards.
Yeah. Like there's many different business models going through everybody right now. Like one thing would be like, do we want to go for a Kickstarter? You know, another thing would be, do we want to just start small and like we were thinking just start small, build our following, save up, you know, get some donations or something like that. Or at least like know that we have a lot of people that want to buy the game and then just kind of invest and then start selling it. So who knows? Right now we're thinking maybe this one not doing a Kickstarter just because
of the way it is with so many different expansion opportunities and components. It's kind of hard to know what do you sell as the product, which decks, which boards, or all of them.
Yeah, if I've got like 12 different decks, like which one am I selling on Kickstarter, you know? Like,
and people might just want a specific one, so it might make more sense to just have a e-commerce thing and let people choose what they want to buy. Yeah.
I mean, I have another game that's going to Kickstarter in a few months or at the end of next month, really.
Wow.
And that is just like a self-contained game. you know, like that's
It's
just
more
done.
straightforward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There'll be expansions in the future, but it's just one game by
Yeah.
itself.
Yeah, and this game, of course, Trope Quest, you can, yeah, as you said, it is infinite in its possibilities, nearly infinite. How many
Yeah.
expansions and how many settings you can create? Yeah.
Yeah, like the settings could just be places like Germany.
Oh,
Yeah.
You
Germany,
just
yeah.
have a story set in Germany.
Yeah,
So
you can
suddenly
help
it's
us
like,
make German tropes.
yeah, you want to make German tropes for us? You know, we can sell German trope quest.
I don't think Germany always goes into a place when you go with German tropes, which is maybe not the best thing to tell stories about in a lighthearted way. So
Okay.
no, but you can
Modern
tell German
tropes.
stories in a lighthearted way too. It's completely possible. Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have to do the one story. Yeah, but
Yeah.
yeah, cool.
My mom wants him to make a boomer's deck.
Yeah. She's like, her mom's like, we're all over 60 and we don't
She's like,
understand
I don't
any
get
of
these
these.
things.
I was like, okay, we'll just do something with like stuff that happened in the 60s and 70s. You know?
Yeah,
Like,
that's interesting. The generational decks could be good.
yeah,
Yeah.
because like when you think of movies like Forrest Gump, like what is it except for every single trope from like an entire generation? You know,
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
he's like
Oh,
he's
of
in the
course,
Vietnam
the
War,
kid-friendly one,
he's in a
too.
protest, somebody gets AIDS. You know, like it's all like just like 20 years of like history tropes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and we also want to make a kids one and like a.
Yeah, definitely want to make an educational one that's like simpler terms and it's just for focus on storytelling and fun elements, less of the pop culture references, and make it for kids, you know, so they can start, you know, turning their little brains into storytelling brains.
Yeah. And they are a lot like kids are natural storytellers because we are natural storytellers, right? So that would work
absolutely.
out quite well. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
So, Tavey and Hanna, I want to thank you a lot for doing this. It was really a lot of fun. I didn't expect it. How immediately I was hooked, and it was my story. It was
taken
our
aback.
story.
Like,
Yeah.
you hadn't even played a card yet. You're like, I would like this game.
Yep. And yeah, now that we played this game, I of course want to play the other game that you have in the making with you. So when you have it on Tabletop Simulator, let me know, and we will immediately go back on stream.
Awesome. Yes. Yeah, we would love to do that.
Great. So yeah, then I wish you all. Is there a way to get in touch with you to play Trope Quest with you if somebody wants to, maybe?
Oh yeah, people want to go on our stream, you can email us.
Yeah, or you can go to our website, TropeQuest.com.
Yeah, go to our website, TropeQuest.com.
Contact us.
Yeah, there's a link to contact us and a link to download a print and play version of this game.
Perfect.
And also links to our live stream, links to our YouTube channel, all that stuff is at TropeQuest.com.
Yep.
Very nice.
And our Instagram at TropeQuest.
Mm-hmm.
You can send us a message if you want to be on the stream, if you think you'd be great at this game.
Yeah, we could totally
and
bring
Sven,
people.
You can come on whenever too.
Yep.
Yes,
Yeah.
that would. Yeah, I can only recommend it. It is a lot of fun, and you are very kind to a new player. That I have to tell you as well.
We're amazing at
Yeah,
this.
we're really good at the game. We're not the experts just because we play it a lot.
Yeah, there's never, some days you're just not feeling as creative and you end up telling a kind of weird story, but it still works though.
There's still
And then
something there, you know?
other days like feeling on fire.